Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and we are officially in the books for week one, start of the new NFL season as the New Orleans Saints host the Arizona Cardinals, coming up short. Losing to the Cardinals this Sunday in the Dome by the score of 20-13. This marked the debut of our new head coach, Kellen Moore, and it also marked the end of an era. It marked the end of the 6 consecutive opening game victories for the New Orleans Saints in the past 6 seasons. It comes to an end today against the Cardinals, of course, because they lost. But it isn't a doom and gloom loss like you probably would hear from a lot of Saints analysts who feel that the season is over. We're not going to win a game. We suck. Break out the paper bags from Winn-Dixie. It's not that bad. I actually saw some hope to build upon going forward. Not to a degree that I'm looking at this team as somebody who's going to challenge for the division or anything like that, or squeak into the playoffs. Nothing like that. But future, not future in the next 5 or 6 months. I'm talking future years down the line. I think that this team has something to build on with what I saw just today. My main focus going into this game was the defense. I was focusing on all aspects, but the number one focus was the defense. Coming off of last season, the Saints as a team, as a whole, had problems everywhere on the field. But defensively, just talking statistic-wise, we were dead last. Defensively, we couldn't stop the run, we couldn't stop the pass, we couldn't stop a nosebleed. And so that was the main concern for me going forward. Offensively, I felt that, Kellen Moore, very successful offensive coordinator, play caller with the stops he's been at, just recently won a Super Bowl as a play caller. I figured that would balance itself out, but defensively, I was worried. And coming out of this game, I felt good. I think the defense has turned the corner. Now, we're not traveling down a different street per se, but there is a corner. There's a stop sign there. We finally got down to the end of the block with the horrible plays that the New Orleans Saints have been just written with, as a team as of late. But today, I think that there's some glimmers of light. Now, did they show flashes of the horrible gameplay that we've seen under Dennis Allen and other defensive coordinators here in New Orleans? Yes. There were a couple of big plays. Actually, there was only 2 big plays that the Saints really gave. 3 big plays that the Saints gave up, but nothing that would be considered defense gashing plays other than the Marvin Harrison Jr. catch down the sideline. And even with that, I think Kool-Aid McKendry had a pretty good coverage. It was just a better thrown ball. It's hard to defend a perfectly thrown ball. But yet and still, really good play on Arizona's part there. The long run that they gave up, I think that was in the second half. They did give up that run, but they bounced back and only forced a field goal attempt and make. And so that was a good recovery. And also their readjustments at halftime. Because in the first half, it looked like it was about to be a rout by the Arizona Cardinals offense, but defense adjusted at halftime, something that we're not used to here. We're not used to defensive adjustments, and adjustments were indeed made this Sunday in the Dome, and I was happy to see it. Now, a lot of that can be contribute to Arizona Cardinals conservative play calling in the second half. I fully acknowledge that. But even with that, the Saints were able to get them off the field when they needed to, basically pitching a shutout in the second half, other than that field goal that was set up by the long run early in the third quarter. Arizona did nothing offensively, and you can tip your hat to the Saints defense on that part. Offensively, the part that I went into this not worrying about, now I'm worried. I'm worried about Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore looked like the lights were too big. For everybody that felt that Spencer Rattler was going to be, for lack of a better term, rattled by being the week one starter for the Saints, he wasn't the problem. The problem was the head coach. I feel that Dennis Allen, Jesus, I'm still stuck on that. Kellen Moore is, he's a rookie coach. But I'm reminded by the fact it's not like he hasn't coached before. It's not like he hasn't been in certain situations before. This man has been the offensive coordinator in Dallas for a number of years, with the Chargers, just last season with the Eagles, went all the way to the Super Bowl. So you've been in high pressure situations your entire career. Oh, let's not forget, you was an NFL quarterback for a number of years. So you should be used to the spotlight, to the moments. And for some strange reason, now I could be completely off base, completely wrong with my assessment here, but I'm just going by your actions here. I'm talking to Kellen Moore, knowing he ain't listening to this show, could care less about me, but it is what it is. You look like the pressure got to him. Just dumb decisions, man. Some of the play calling. Saints got into the red zone on one drive. It was one throw, and then it was run. He didn't try to throw it in or sling it in there one time. The wide receiver screen pass to Chris Olave on their side of Arizona's side of the field was stupid. That was a stupid play call with Chris Olave. Why would you even try that with Chris Olave? Dumb play call. And then the biggest one of it all, the biggest one, how you go into halftime with 3 timeouts in your pocket. All 3 timeouts. You didn't give your team a chance. You could have least. Now, who knows? Who knows? Crazier things than happen. Call a timeout, line up again, give your defense a break, give them a second to catch their breath. Who knows? Maybe they'll come in, swipe at the ball, get a fumble. You know, maybe they'll come in, force a field goal rather than a touchdown that was eventually given up. Who knows? And that changes. That changes the course of a game. And then maybe you have enough time to get down the field and get a field goal attempt of your own at that moment. No, you hold on to 3 timeouts. You get the ball back with 23 seconds left, and you essentially took a knee. It was a run play, but it was a give-up play, only to go into halftime. Dumb. That was a dumb decision not to use those timeouts. It made no sense at all. We get in the second half. There was a moment where this is when Blake Grupe missed the field goal. Now, I don't 100% put this on Blake Grupe. Now, is he at fault? Yeah. You only have one job. One. And that's to kick balls, man. How do you miss that kick? But the reason I don't put it all on him, he was rushed out there. Go back, watch the play. The play before, it was 3rd down. They didn't get the 3rd down conversion, of course. And it took forever for him to decide to send out the field goal team. And by the time he decided to send them out, they got lined up ready to kick or attempt the kick. The play clock's running down. Blake Grupe had about 3 seconds to come off of that kick, and that's what happened. He rushed it, and that's how he missed it. He had to rush it. Now, should he have made it? Yeah, because it wasn't like it was a 55-yarder. It was kind of a chip shot there, but by kicker standards, I couldn't make the kick, so I'm not going to judge too much. But at the same time, man, I mean, give the guy a chance. Give the guy a chance. He had to rush it. And even with the last field goal that was attempted and he made this one. He rushed that one too because somebody had to tell Kellen Moore to kick the field goal. If you can read lips, once again, go back, watch the play. If you can read lips, it comes off as if Kellen Moore was about to go for it on fourth down. Somebody talked him out of it. Somebody told him otherwise. Somebody said, "No, we should kick the field goal," because he was like, "Oh, we gonna kick the field goal?" And that's what I read his lips on. Because I was paying close attention because I was shocked that they were going for it. And lo and behold, the camera stayed on him, and you could read his lips when he said that. He couldn't even make that decision. I was so shocked by that. I was shocked by that. Thankfully, Blake Grupe made that field goal. But, you know, there are things that can be cleaned up going forward that gives me hope. Once again, I tip my hat to Arizona Cardinals. They came out victorious here, but let's be honest, people. What did Arizona Cardinals do to beat the Saints? You can only point to maybe 2 plays that the Arizona Cardinals executed and succeeded on. Other than that, nothing. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., did he play the second half? Did he even get on the field in the second? I think the one time I heard his name called in the second half is when Kyler Murray missed him on that throw. Aside from that, you didn't hear his name at all in the second half. John Connor, their running back, barely heard his name in the second half. Defensively, the Saints did phenomenal in that second half. The Cardinals did nothing. Saints killed themselves. The penalties, and it wasn't so much the penalties. You expect a kind of sloppy game because it's the first game of the season. Look around the league. You're gonna have that. You're gonna have sloppy play. First game, adrenaline's pumping. I get all that. I can live with dumb penalties, well, not dumb penalties. Let me rephrase that. I can live with over aggressive penalties, if that makes sense. Involving hits or, unnecessary roughness and stuff like that because you're amped up. But what I can't live with are dumb penalties. And these are the true dumb penalties. Pre-snap penalties, illegal formation, false starts. Yeah, that's the stuff that kills me. And then they happen at the worst possible time, all the time. But when it comes to the Saints offense, bro, third and short, they get in a third, either short or manageable situation. Pre-snap penalty. Now it's third and long, third and a mile. And then you have certain Saints fans who will sit there and judge Spencer Rattler on that because he couldn't convert third down. Who can convert 3rd and 19 every single time? Who? You tell me. Drew Brees couldn't do that. So don't sit here and act like Spencer Rattler should be able to do that. Come on, man. You putting him in a bad situation, and that goes for anybody, any quarterback. That's a bad situation to put your offense in. Now, that isn't solely on the offensive line. A lot of that is because of the coaching. When you get that many pre-snap penalties, you have to look at coaching. You have to look at discipline. What y'all did all summer in training camp during the preseason. What was the point of all that? All of the practices, all of the run-throughs and walk-throughs and film studies and this, that, and the third. That's what you hammer out then. Those little things. You can at least get on the same page. Who's supposed to be where? Supposed to be set. You're supposed to know the snap count. You just broke the huddle. The quarterback just told you the snap count. What are you doing? And you're at home. You're at home. I don't understand. That's the part that blows my mind when I looked at this week one matchup. I was like, man, this is the most self-inflicted loss from this team that I can recall in a long time. And it is hurtful. It's really hurtful because you you're not looking for the Saints to go out there and just pull Colts versus the Miami Dolphins on it and win 35 to nothing or something. Whatever they did, man, the Colts demolished the Dolphins today. I wasn't expecting a performance like that from the Saints. I was just expecting a better disciplined team. Now there are a lot of positives, as I said before. Here are some of the positives. The run game is there. We have a good run game, and I think we have a good system. Now, to be fair on that end for Kellen Moore, the game kind of got away from him in the second half. We got down by 2 scores, but not to the degree where you had to completely abandon the run game. But they chose to kind of abandon the run game and go to the short passing game, which if you wanted to break through this shell coverage that the Arizona Cardinals were in, that's why Spencer Rattler didn't go deep. That's why he never really took any shots, because of the defense that the Cardinals were in. There was nothing down the field. Absolutely nothing. That's why everything was short, intermediate passing. Pick them apart that way, taking what they gave him. And that's all he did, But you want to break that shell coverage? Start running the ball. Run it successful. I think the Saints had about, I think they averaged about a 5-yard per carry average in today's game. If we were able to keep up the run game going, that would have broke through. Because eventually you're going to have them safeties start to cheat up. And then you could take your shot. It was getting set up for that. But the game got away from them. And they went away from it. I think they went away from it a little premature, but nonetheless, that's where we at. But encouraging moving forward that they are utilizing the run game and utilizing all the running backs. I think both of the running backs got all 3 running backs got touches today, and all 3 looked good. Alvin Kamara, Kendrick Miller, and Devin Neal. So that was encouraging to see. Very encouraging to see. And let's not forget, Arizona Cardinals has a pretty good defense. Now, they're not the 85 Bears, but they have a pretty good defense. And the Saints were moving the ball pretty efficiently. But, penalties. Penalties, drive-killing penalties. Got them every single time. I guess I should mention this because it popped in my head. That Chris Olave non-catch on the last drive, that was a catch. The refs got us on that one. Bad call by the refs. That I don't. Now, granted, I'm going by what I saw in the game. Pretty sure every station is going to have a recap of that down here in New Orleans. Was it a catch? Was it not a catch? Probably got a different angle from what I saw. But going off the angle I saw, he caught the ball. And so I don't know. Now, granted, it didn't hurt us as far as that first down is concerned. But it was a catch. It killed the flow. It killed because you catch that ball, or it is ruled to catch, which it was on the field. You keep that call. The defense is already spent. Their hands on their hips. They're done. You're running this up-tempo 2-minute style offense at this point. You're doing what you want to do. You're chipping your way down the field. You could have kept that going. But no, that caused the stoppage in the game. That caused the Cardinals to shift out people that they needed to shift out, and guys to catch their breaths and gain their composure and whatnot. And didn't help the Saints in the long run. Did it help us time rise? Yeah, it put a couple of seconds back on the clock, and stopped the clock. But that's not what we wanted to do at that point. We were trying to get up the field as quickly as possible, but that was a catch. I'm sorry, but let's talk about Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, he was solid today. You know, he didn't set the world on fire, but I felt he had a solid outing today. He was 27 to 46, 214 yards. Alvin Kamara, he looked good when he was in there. You know, he was running the ball pretty decently. He even scored a touchdown, our only touchdown today. But that touchdown has even more significance because that was his 1,000th touchdown, and it was crazy because I didn't even know that was coming up. If I did, I forgot about it, but I didn't even know that was coming up. Congratulations to AK-41, 1,000 touchdowns in the black and gold, man. It's I don't know. It's hard to celebrate stuff like that when you lose the game, but you know it is what it is. Our leading receiver today was uh, tight end Jawan Johnson. I'll discuss him further in a little while. And Chris Olave also, he had a pretty decent game. Jawan Johnson, he had 8 catches. Chris Olave had 7 catches. Moving over to the defense, they applied a lot of pressure on Kyler Murray. They built the same. That's what they built the same. They had the same build. But anyway, I was noticing it today watching the game. I'm like, man, that is the most awkward looking quarterback on earth, man, Kyler Murray. But he was sacked 5 times today. 5. That is weird. I didn't see that coming. 2 of them came from Cam Jordan, or 1.5 of them came from Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan, look, bro, I don't know. I don't know what he's eating, what he drunk before the game. Cam Jordan looked like 2015 Cam Jordan out there today. He was everywhere. And this is coming from an individual who was saying it's time for Cam Jordan to ride off into the sunset. I have no problems openly admitting what I said on record here on the Who That Say podcast. I sure did say it multiple times. Today, I'm eating crow. Today, I apologize, Cam Jordan. That is a performance that I haven't seen from him in years. And that was part of the reason why I was saying what I was saying, because I haven't seen it in years, but we got to see it today. Man, he was all over the field. He gave Kyler Murray the blues today. Like I said, overall, 5 sacks today on Kyler Murray. Normally, that is that style of quarterback, a mobile quarterback, gives the Saints fits, and Kyler Murray did to a degree because he got loose a few times, but overall, they held him in check. They really did, and Kyler Murray wasn't 100% comfortable in that pocket throughout the game. Now, the defense did have their bugaboos. They had 2 big plays in this game that, boy, you wish you could take back, wish you can have back. It was a big run by Trey Benson, their running back for the Cardinals. He had a 52-yard rush that set up a field goal in the third quarter. Then you had the big play from Marvin Harrison Jr. in the second quarter, that 45-yard pass, both set up scores. And then when you add on 13 accepted penalties, and I use accepted very strongly because it was actually more. But it was only 13 that will go on record. And it was just too much to overcome. Injury-wise, coming out of this game, the only one that I know of is the Taliense Fuaga, our right tackle. He had a knee injury in the second half. He left the game. Other than that, the Saints were come out of this fairly unscathed, even though that is a big blow to our offensive line that was already struggling before that injury. So hopefully Taliense will get well soon with that. Let's go over team leaders, and then we're going to go into our team stats to follow up. Team leaders, Beginning with the Arizona Cardinals, their leading passer today was Kyler Murray. He had 163 yards passing today. He was 21 for 29 with 2 touchdowns. Saints, of course, was Spencer Rattler. He was 27-46, 214 yards, no touchdown, no interceptions either. Leading rusher today for the New Orleans Saints was Alvin Kamara with 11 carries for 45 yards, and our only touchdown for the Arizona Cardinals, it was Trey Benson. He had 8 carries for 69 yards. 52 of them was on one run. And so you got to kind of put that in perspective. Leading receiver for the Arizona Cardinals was, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 catches for 71 yards. But he had that 45-yard catch. So you got to put that in perspective. And he had that touchdown late in the first half, I believe. Or was it in the first quarter? Whenever. But our leading receiver was Juwan Johnson. He had 8 catches for 76 yards. Only if it was 9. Let me tell you something. I never was a champion of Juwan Johnson. I thought he was going to be to be honest with you, I don't even remember what he was going to what I thought he was going to be, because it quickly went away. I was excited at first, but I don't remember what I was excited about when we first got Juwan Johnson. And then this offseason, when we were about to get rid of him, he was free and clear, about to hit free agency. The Saints' first order of business, they re-signed Juwan Johnson to a nice contract now, to a pretty decent contract. And all right, you look at his stats today, and you're like, oh well, he did decent. But then you look at that last play, or the second to last play of this game, and this isn't the first time this has happened. He's done this on third downs. He's done this on touchdowns before, go-ahead touchdowns, moment too big touchdowns, or plays. He folds every time. He crumbles under the pressure every time. I know that we're ailing at the tight end position. Foster Monroe is out. Taysom Hill is out. I get all that. And yes, 8 catches for 76 yards for a tight end is excellent. But my God, man, you got to make that catch. You got to hold on to the ball. Spencer Rattler threw a great pass before that touchdown. It was nowhere else he could put that ball. And to his credit, up to that point, Juwan Johnson made a great grab for the ball. Next thing you know, he comes down with it, and you see the ball skirting out. And you're like, what happened? He just dropped it. And the commentator's like, oh, Buda Baker. Buda Baker knocked it out. I'm looking at the replay. Yes, was Buda Baker there? Yes. Did he try to make a play for the ball? I'm pretty sure he did. But Juwan Johnson caught it, brought it to his body, secured it. This is all while he's in the air. He secured the ball. It's 2 hands on the ball. There's 2 hands on the ball. And he dropped it. It was that was it. Our chance to tie the game, to go to force overtime, was done. And it was, that was the only time I audibly got mad throughout this entire game. Like I said, there's a lot of things that would have drove me crazy in the past involving this team. It didn't really drive me crazy today, because I'm looking at it from a new perspective, not trying to blow a gasket, especially this early in the season. But then when that happened, I just couldn't help. I could not help myself. I guess it was all of that repressed rage that I had throughout the game. It just came out at that moment. I just couldn't believe he dropped that ball. I couldn't believe it. But anyways, moving back to our stats here. Moving over to defense, leading tackler was Demario Davis. He had 9 tackles For the Arizona Cardinals, it was Buda Baker. He had 10 tackles today. Let's move over to team stats, beginning with first downs. Arizona Cardinals, 19 first downs. Saints, 21 first downs. Total plays ran. Arizona Cardinals ran 61 plays. Saints, 69. Total yardage. Arizona Cardinals, 276 yards. Saints, 315. Cardinals had 9 drives to the Saints, 10 drives. Yards per play, Arizona, 4.5. Saints, 4.6. Passing, Arizona, 130 yards of passing. Saints, 208 passing. Rushing, the Arizona Cardinals had 146 yards rushing to the Saints, 107. Red zone. Saints. Well, before I get to red zone, I want to go to the yards per rush. This is what infuriated me. Now, Arizona, 5.4 yards per rush. That needs to be cleaned up. Even though it was pretty good, pretty decent. Once again, 146 on the ground. You take away that 52-yard run. The Saints held them under 100 yards, but of course. But, I mean, you take away that one big play, Saints did do pretty decent, and that does affect the average. But 5.4 yards per rush. Saints, 4.9. That's great. And they didn't have any big runs. So that's all them on the ground. I thought that was great. What wasn't great is the red zone. Arizona was 2 for 3 in the red zone. Saints were 1 for 4. 1 for 4 in the red zone. Now, one of those was the last play of the game, last drive of the game. But yet and still, man, you can't come up empty. You at home. I accept that to a certain degree on the road, but not at home. 1 for 4? No. The other biggie that we discussed earlier, penalties. Arizona had 9 penalties for 54 yards. Saints had 13. 13 penalties for 89 yards. And that's basically a turnover. Even though there were no turnovers in this game. No fumbles, no interceptions. They had one interception, but it was called back due to a penalty. Thank God. But it was no penalties. But when you think of those penalties, I mean, no turnovers. But if you think of those penalties, it's basically a turnover because a lot of those penalties came on third downs. A lot of those penalties came at crucial moments of the game. Even on defense, third down, you finally getting them off the field. Defensive holding, offsides, just stupid stuff like that. Automatic first downs. Boom, they get the ball back in or keep the ball, and it's infuriating for any team. Time of possession, the Cardinals had the ball for 33 minutes and 46 seconds to the Saints 26 minutes and 14 seconds. Let's go through the grades, everybody. In case you don't know, don't remember, we do this after every Saints game. We grade every unit of the New Orleans Saints, in particular, offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. We grade them and come up with an average that will give us our overall grade for today's performance against the Arizona Cardinals. Let's begin with offense. The offense today gets a C+. I think the offense looked good. They didn't look bad. It's weird. It's a weird kind of flux that the offense was in. They didn't take any big shots, but at the same time, nothing was forced. It was ultra conservative. I guess that's the way I can describe it. They were super, super conservative and didn't really take any chances. But we all know that you have to take chances every now and then. I don't know who to put that on. Is that Spencer Rattler fault? Is that Kellen Moore fault? I don't know. But the defense did dictate a lot of what the Saints were doing offensively. But the Saints were moving the ball when they needed to, taking short intermediate passes, and basically it looked like a preseason offense. That's what it looked like from the onslaught. Uh, the one thing that really bothered me, besides the timeout issue at the end of the first half, was the adjustments at in the beginning of the second half and throughout the second half of this game. Kellen Moore really didn't adjust to what the Arizona Cardinals were doing, and that kind of frustrated me. And I I thought he would have did a better job at that, because that was one of the problems that the Saints have been dealing with over the previous seasons under the previous administration. So it is enough to make you scratch your head, but uh, they played deep. They didn't do anything bad, but they could have did a lot better. I'll just leave it at that. Defensively, they get a B plus. And they, unlike the offense at halftime, they adjusted. I was very happy with the way the defense kind of adjusted at halftime. Even in the first half, they were flying around a lot. It was a lot of energy, but they kept that energy going. It was refreshing to see a Saints defense keep the same energy that they had to start a game. Once again, another ailment that has been plaguing the Who Dat Nation under the past administration. They'll start off hot and then just fizzle out, don't adjust, and keep doing what you're doing. We all remember that famous quote. And so it was good to see that they were able to adjust on the fly. Took Marvin Harrison Jr. out of the game. He was a non-factor in the second half. Kyler Murray, he didn't get loose like you would think he would have gotten loose on his team. That was great to see. So yes, defense gets a B plus. Special team gets A minus. It would have been an A plus, but you missed that kick. You know, even though I don't put it all on Blake Groupie, my man, you got one job. You got one job. I don't care if you was rushed or not. You got to make that kick. But you had the block field goal attempt that gave Saints life at the end of the game, gave us a chance there. Punting, field position being flipped and things of that nature was good as well. So special teams gets A minus. Coaching gets a C plus. As I said, Kellen Moore didn't adjust in that second half as opposed to the defense under Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley is the one who saved this from a failing grade here. But I think this was a learning curve game. I think this is a game where you pick up the pieces as a head coach and you see what you did wrong and you correct them going forward. Overall, the New Orleans Saints today gets a letter grade of a B minus. And look, I thought it would be lower, but I can only go by the math here. If it was up to me, it would be more like a C minus. But it's a B minus overall. It's like I said, it wasn't a bad game. The Saints didn't play a bad game. It's just the inability to score, and particularly in the red zone. And that isn't a Kellen Moore. Well, it is. It falls on him, but this stretches from all the way to last year and the year before that. The Saints cannot find a way to score in the red zone. I don't know what it is, man. It's like they're cursed. It's like there's a barrier there once they cross the 25-yard line. But it is what it is. To close out the show, we're going to give 2 awards here. Who sits on the pedestal and who sits next to the coach? Let's start off with who sits on the pedestal this week, and that'll be none other than Cam Jordan. He was the MVP of today's game with 1.5 sacks. The pressure that he applied on Kyler Murray was that should be studied. And the energy that he brought, I'm telling you, this was like 10 years ago, Cam Jordan. This is Cam Jordan just wreaking havoc, man. I was, my mouth was wide open watching him play today. I didn't think he still had that gear in him. And my God, he had it and more. It super exceeded what I thought we were going to get from Cam Jordan under this new defense. Maybe this is the breath of fresh air that he needed. Who needs to sit next to me? The head coach, Juwan Johnson. And it hurts my heart because he had a good game statistically, but that that drop, man, I just cannot. I cannot believe he let the ball come out of his hands in that crucial moment. It's unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable. But it is what it is. Just real quick to look around the NFC South. It's not. I guess I do this just to do this because it is football season. But the Carolina Panthers, at least the time of this recording, it looks like they're going to lose. They're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons, they played each other today. And it came down to a last-second field goal, and Atlanta missed the field goal. What's his name? Young-Ho Koo? He missed it. He choked. And so if you want something to celebrate, at least Atlanta won't be gloating that we lost. Oh, how y'all lost? Well, they can't say nothing. They can't say nothing. They lost. So as the division goes right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the only team to win in the NFC South this week, and is a double whammy because it was a division win on top of it. So that's why I was hoping the Saints, if we were going to make any noise, if we were going to shock the world, this would have been the game to kind of steal, because nobody picked us to win this game anyway, because we were 6.5 point underdogs, which was covered. But anywho's, nobody picked us to win, so it was par for the course. But if we were gonna do something, we needed to kind of keep pace. And it's only week one; anything can happen. The wheels can fall off on the 31 other teams, and the Saints just steamroll everybody else, go 16-1, and shock the world. Will it happen? No. But it doesn't hurt to dream, as my father used to say. In any event, that's it for week one. The Saints will now prepare to take on the San Francisco 49ers next week in the Dome. 49ers, their time of this recording, still playing. They are playing the Seattle Seahawks. They're winning that game right now, but who knows? Who knows? It don't matter. Win or lose, it's going to be a tough one. But we'll go over that game later on next week. But I would like to know, what did you think of the game? Are you on the fence? Do you think that the season is over? That's it. Bring out the plastic bag. Well, not plastic. Jesus, don't kill yourself. The paper bags. Do you think this is it? Oh, we suck again. Or are you optimistic? Did you take some good things away from this? I did. I took some good things away. I think there's stuff to improve on. And this was a game where you could have won. You should have won. But self-inflicted wounds that you can't clean up. There's nothing in this game that I looked at that ultimately cost us the game that we can't clean up. And so if we can clean up, going back to Dennis Allen's favorite words, if we can clean up some of those mistakes, some of the play call and some of the rookie mistakes and things of that nature, we'll be all right. I think we could be a pretty good team moving forward in this season. But I want to know your thoughts on the matter. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget, YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel. Like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Who That Say podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Everyone, thank you for joining me for this week 1 recap of the Saints versus the Cardinals. Saints unfortunately lose 20-13. They are currently 0-1 on the season, but we get another run next week when we take on the 49ers. Until then, everybody, I'm still gonna be screaming, who that?